Greetings YouTube! Now as promised, I'm now doing my full review of Mortal Kombat 9 / Mortal Kombat 2011 / Mortal Kombat. Does this game have enough names? But I've now finished the single player campaign, done more of the challenge towers, as well as many other things in the game. And I can say I still stick by my recommendation. This is a great game. Go out and buy it, you're going to have some fun. Now that I've actually fully played the storyline, let me give you a few things that I've found you're going to need to know about this game if you haven't picked it up. And that is a new move set, which is the X-ray moves. Now, in addition to them being somewhat entertaining until you've seen them for the 1000th time, like that's the same thing with every video game that has this type of move, they are quite entertaining. But you will quickly learn that more than being entertaining, they are the key to winning a match in this game. No, seriously. If you are able to pull off an X-ray move, you have a very, very good chance of winning the entire thing. Now, it's not that bad as compared to, let's say, some of the other fighting series out there that have these kind of instant combo moves, where they'll take out huge chunks of your health. No, it's not like that. You can recover from having one of these moves done on you in a match, which is good. That's a really good balancing thing that a lot of games don't. A lot of games tend to be, if I can pull off this little combo button, or this button combination, and it gets done on your character, you're dead. One move guarantee almost. Yeah, you might have to do a few extra kicks, but your character's fucked. Not necessarily the case, and they're actually very easy to implement. Unlike having a crazy amount of moves or a crazy amount of buttons, you're just pushing down 2 buttons and they're the same for every character. So even novice characters are able to pull this off. But at the same time, they also made them blockable. So it's all about timing with your X-ray moves, which makes things a little bit more fair. You can block it. It's actually extremely easy to block. It's just as easy to block this with as it is to block a regular punch or a regular kick. In addition to that, though, it is a little confusing at first because some characters can do these moves halfway across the stage, and they'll come in at unusual angles and such. And of course, if you're combining this move with certain characters like Sub-Zero, who you can freeze your opponent and then quickly walk up to them and just do this little move since they can't block it. Other characters, you have to be right on top of them, and that's when it's easiest to block. So obviously some characters are a little bit extra easier to pull this off with. However, if you know who those characters are, you know how to fight against them. The other thing that's going to become important there is you have a bar related to this X-ray. Now, it's like an extra power bar on the bottom of the screen. Every time you block, land a punch, or whatever, you wind up filling up this bar. You can use it to enhance your regular moves, as in your regular special moves, or even breakers, or save all that power, and that's how you get your X-ray. I mention that because another key aspect now to this game is landing the first punch in the first round. Because if you're the first one to land a first hit, your bar fills up big time. And I say this all because this is how you're going to beat the single player campaign big time. Learning to land that first hit, pulling off your X-ray move, and avoiding the enemy's X-ray move. Now, for the single player campaign, since I mentioned it, I'll bring up a few other things, and that is it's very well told. It gets a little grimdarky at the end. In fact, at the end, they also kind of realized, wait a minute, you really haven't fought any of the heroes, so we're going to contrive some reason to fight the good side, which is the one downside. Mortal Kombat versus DC at least had it so you pretty much played every single character, and you got every single character's perspective. In this one, you don't. It is floating around the side of good and neutral if you count Scorpion. But I would have liked it if we saw a little bit more of the other side, a little bit more of the evil Outworlders and their plotting. You get a little bit of this with Katana and Jade, but The other thing you're going to notice, and the other thing that you're going to feel is probably the computer being an absolute dick at first, is when you fight tag team matches. And when I mean you fight a tag team, I mean you fight the tag team. You don't get another player to fight with in the single player. And the first few times this happens, you're going to go, what the hell? Because they don't have a joint health bar. No, they each have their own separate health bar. And they will tag in and out. So you will learn that you have to pull off those X-ray moves in order to survive. And they only get harder as time goes. And of course, it's sometimes hard because sometimes you're playing with a character who you just don't like playing. For whatever reason, you can't get his moves off right. This is why it took me a little while to beat the single-player campaign, because I'm not that good with Raiden. I'm pretty good with everybody else. Scorpion I'm awesome with. Sub-Zero I was doing great with. Even Liu Kang I was doing great with in retrospective. But Raiden never was very good with Raiden. And unfortunately, this isn't really a big spoiler, but he's the last guy you play as. But alas, it was fun. I don't think there's much else. Well, I should talk a little bit about the story, because they do seem to try to kill off a lot of characters. I'm not going to ruin everyone that seems to die, but I will say this, because even this was spoiled for me right in the get-go of the game, pretty much, that they manipulate the storyline, and you basically now also have a robot version of Sub-Zero. It gets turned around where Smoke never becomes a robot, and Sub-Zero becomes a robot. Interesting twist, but I don't know how they're going to keep that as a permanent thing. We know what Sub-Zero is supposed to be. I can't see them keeping this for future games. I'm almost certain if they do another game, he's going to become a regular human thing again. Same thing with a lot of the other characters. Yeah. Just because, well, let's face it, Mortal Kombat always does this. Even when they killed Liu Kang the first time, they brought him back as a zombie, and then brought him back. So, this is kind of like Marvel. We've killed Doctor Doom. He'll be back in a few episodes, or a few months. Hell, they couldn't even let Captain America stay dead for more than a year. But I'm digressing there. It's the same thing. They do tend to kill off a lot of characters, but you're not overly concerned. I mean, even in this game, they've kind of... well, you can probably guess it, since anyone that's a Mortal Kombat fan knows how the basic plot goes throughout the first 3 games. You kind of kill Shao Kahn halfway through this game, and he's not dead still. Like, you really kind of rip out his internal organs, and he's still around. Yeah. So, even right there, you know there's going to be... If they do another game, a lot of these guys are just going to come back. Oh, you've been resurrected. How interesting. Well, they do kind of hint that they are going to go... If you play Mortal Kombat 4, if they do another Mortal Kombat, which I don't even know what they're going to call it now. This is why I hate this naming convention of just avoiding, of trying to make... we know it's not. Right? The official name for this is Mortal Kombat, as was the first game. Yes, they're kind of remaking it, but if you're going to do that, put Mortal Kombat 2011 as the official goddamn title. Put Mortal Kombat 9. Put Mortal Kombat A New Beginning. I personally am very fine with you just putting numbers down on it. Mortal Kombat 2. What is with this tricking? Are you trying to trick us into thinking that this is not a Mortal Kombat sequel? The only appeal this game would have is to people who have played previous Mortal Kombats. That's what you're banking on. You're banking on the reputation of the series. Therefore, we know it's not the first game. You're not tricking us. We all know it's a sequel. Or, it is a sequel in this case, even though they're kind of redoing. This entire naming convention just pisses me off, because they've done it with how many things? And it ruins pacing of the story, and it ruins when you're trying to talk about something. Oh yeah, I love Mortal Kombat. It was great. Oh, really? I mean, I thought you didn't have an Xbox or PlayStation. Oh, well, I was talking about. You have conversations like that. It confuses the hell out of people. Try talking about Final Destination films and talking about scenes and stuff, and people can maybe now even get confused if you're talking about the last movie or talking about the first movie. Give us numbers. Very least, give us subtitles. I am so confused what they're going to do for the next one. Are they going to call it Mortal Kombat 2? Because they've already had Mortal Kombat 2, and you're not even doing a technical remake of Mortal Kombat 2 since we've had Mortal Kombat 2 done already in this one. They're going to have to make a subtitle up for it. Or if you're going to make these out on a regular basis, at least give them years. At least King of Fighters has decided to do that. We'll just make King of Fighters in 2011. If you're going to be like that, go with the King of Fighters thing. I really went on a tangent there. Yeah. But yeah, the storyline's great. It is very easy to learn the moves and to get them down. Now, I still had a few problems pulling off some of them where I was pretty damn sure I put the right button combination in and the guy just threw a kick instead of flying across the screen. I know people are going to say it's probably my controller, except I switched to controller from the last time I was playing. The previous time I was playing with my USB Xbox controller. This time I was doing my wireless controller, so I either have two controllers that are a little funky, or it's something in the game, or it's how I'm hitting the buttons. I don't know, but I figure I should put that on there. Other people are having that issue, please post it up here so we can maybe see and confirm that is this a problem with the game, or is this a problem with me? Other than that, highly recommend it still. Challenge Shower is still surprisingly fun. I'm still seeing interesting combinations coming up on the Challenge Shower. I haven't gone through every challenge yet. That thing will take a while to do. Especially if you happen to have a couple of busy days, which is the other reason why it took me so long to beat this game. Online play, it's online play. Some people you're gonna kick their ass with. Other people you're gonna get your ass handed to. The longer you stick at, or the longer this game goes on, the more people kind of refine their skills with certain characters. The more, shall we say, elitist this is a genre issue with fighting games and being online. Is if you don't play online all the time, there's a hardcore fan base that builds up, and they wind up dominating the entire online community. To where if you play from a month or two from now, instead of having a bunch of casual people on there, there's just going to be the hardcore people. Because basically what I'm doing is every time you log on, you're fighting a person that just plays this game intensely, and you get your ass handed to you, and it's not that fun. And it's not like you can find other casual people, because they've all had their asses handed to them, and they back off and go away. So if you're hardcore, this is all you're going to do. Online's going to be fun. If you're reading this, or I should say listening to this review, a little while after its release, be wary. That's not Mortal Kombat's fault if this occurs. That is a problem with the genre in online play. Because, back in the day, you'd always play with just your friends. And you had to be over somebody's physical house. Therefore, everyone was normally about the same level. Because if you tended to play the game all the time, your friends tended to play the game all the time. So, but that would probably, to get into that isn't a whole other issue. It's still fun for right now. So it gets my little recommendation. Of course, if you have the PlayStation 3, you probably haven't been playing it online, have you? It pays sometimes to pay. I'm not even really getting into that whole issue with the network being down. And that has things to do with not even necessarily the hardware and stuff, but more how this Sony conducts itself to how that happened. But I'm not getting into that, like I said. And since I'm now starting to just talk about PlayStation 3, this network being down, and it's 15 minutes long, I think we've exhausted this review. So I am signing off for now. This is highly recommended. Go out, play it, have some fun. Later.